Hey guys, all right, we are working on properties of exponents. Now the last video, we talked about some basic properties of exponents. We talked about if you multiply, you add. If you divide, you subtract, right? So we talked about if you're multiplying x cubed times x3, then you get x to the fifth. And if you divide, let's do it this way. Throw this in there right away. You're going to get x to the 2 minus 3, which is x to the negative 1. So know that the exponent can be negative is one thing that I want to mention too in this part 2 of the video. So same thing, when you multiply, you add, you divide, you subtract. So just know that sometimes the exponent can be a negative exponent, as in the case of the bottom one right there. All right. The other thing that we covered on the video was power to a power. So if you did x to the third to the fourth, power to a power, boom, multiply, it's going to get bigger. So power to a power, boom, multiply. We're going to multiply x to the 3 times 4, and that's going to be x to the 12. All right, so those were some things we covered in the last video. We also talked about that if you have unlike things, if I had like 2x squared plus 3y to the third, x squared and y third are not the same thing. Or if I had like 2x squared plus 3x to the fourth, if I'm adding those, right? If I'm adding, I have to add like things with like things, and those are not like things, so I cannot add them together. If that was multiply, if that was say 2x squared times, let me erase this, 2x squared plus 3x to the fourth. Okay, if I add those, I can't add them because they're not like things. This and this are two different things. X squared and x to the fourth are two different things. They're not the same. I can't combine them together. What if I multiply? What if that's 2x squared times 3x to the fourth? What if it's multiply, not add? If it's multiply, I can do it. When you multiply, you add, right? So I know this is going to become x to the 2 plus 4, or x to the 6th, right? When you multiply, you add. But what do you do about the coefficients? We do the coefficients. You're going to multiply the coefficients, just like you normally would. 2 times 3 has always been and always will be 6. So you still multiply the coefficient just like you normally do. The piece we're adding now is that adding of the exponents. That if you multiply, you add exponents, right? If you multiply, you add exponents. So 2 squared times 3x to the fourth would be 6x to the sixth. All right, try a couple of these. What if I had 4y to the third times 2y to the fifth? What would you get? Go ahead and pause the video and try that one. Do pause the video. I hope you're taking advantage of this. Like, work through it. If you work through it and think through it and then you watch me solve it, you're going to be so much farther ahead because you're going to have a better idea of knowing what you don't know. And when you know what you don't know, it's so powerful, right? So we've got just multiply the coefficients just like you normally would do. So 4 times 2 would be 8. And then y to the third to the fifth is y to the third plus fifth, because when you multiply, you add, and you would get 8y to the 8th. 8y to the 8th. All right? So that's one thing I wanted to point out to you. The other thing I wanted to point out to you is, what if I have something like x times x to the third? What do I do with that? What if you don't see the exponent? I just have x. What do I do then? Because like you multiply, you add, but add what? What exponent is there right there? There's an invisible 1. So know that it's one of those invisible numbers that happens sometimes. It's an invisible 1. So x to the 1 times x to the third is going to become x to the fourth. So there's an invisible 1 that happens sometimes through there. Let's see. Oh, 2 more things to show you. What about if I have something like x squared y to the third times x to the third y to the fourth? What if I have 2 different variables? What if it's not all the same variable? Then what do I do? Again, multiplying. Not adding or subtracting. This does not work for adding or subtracting. It's only multiplying, all right? By multiplying, treat each variable separately. So do this first. It's going to be x to the 2 plus 3, and then do these two. So it'll be y to the 3 plus 4. So you multiply, you add. So it becomes x to the 5th, y to the 7th. So treat each variable, like do the x's, add the exponents, do the y's, add the exponents. So do one and then the other. Okay, try a couple on your own. What if I have that? Pause the video, give it a try. All right, what'd you get? Put these together. Remember, there's an invisible 1 right there. There's an invisible 1, so we're going to have a to the 6th times b to the 5th. When you multiply, you add, so it's going to be a to the 1 plus 5 and b to the 2 plus 3. All right, try another one. How about, this did a. Let's try, but there's some negative exponents in there. Same thing, right? Same thing. We're going to multiply these and get m to the negative 2 plus 4, and then n to the 6 plus negative 3, which is going to be m to the squared, right? M second, and n to the 3rd. So I get m squared, n to the 3rd. Right. These are really not that hard. They just are different, and your eyes take a minute to adjust to get used to them. Try one more. What if I have, pick a letter. What letter should we do? Normally I'd have you pick the letters and help me figure them out. Let's do R, 6s, negative 3, t squared. Let's do 3 variables. Same thing. R squared, s 5, t to the negative 4. All right, try that one. You can pause video. Always pause the video and figure it out, and then check to see if you're right. All right, how'd you do with this one? Just take it letter by letter, just piece by piece. So that's R, 6 plus 2, S, negative 3 plus 5, T, 2 plus negative 4. All right, so it becomes R to the 8, S squared, T to the negative 2. And that's how we're going to leave it. We're going to add another step on it in a couple of days. In about 2 more lessons down the road, we're going to make a change to this one. But for right now, that is the correct answer. How we're going to leave it is R8 S squared T squared. All right, last thing I wanted to show you that's kind of a unique or different thing. What happens if I get something like x squared times x to the 3rd over x times x? What if I have something like that? What do you think? All right, this is multi-step, okay? Multi-step exponents. So I have x squared to x third is going to be x to the 5th, because when you multiply, you add. So you add the exponents together. These have invisible 1s, so it's going to become x squared. But then I'm not done, because what did that just turn into? X to the 5th over x squared is x to the 5th divided by x squared, which is going to become x to the 3rd, because when you divide, you subtract, right? When you divide, you subtract. So that's 5 minus 2, which gives me x cubed. All right, deep breath. You can do these. You can do these. You just have to see them and practice them enough. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll set you off to try your homework. Again, hop onto a Canvas conference, get some help, check with me in class, like reach out. Like if you're not understanding, go back and watch videos, ask a buddy for help, watch a YouTube video, hop on Canvas conference. Like there are lots of different ways to get help with these. So let's try 2 more. How about let's do Y. And then let's do Y. Let's try that. Right, give it a try. Multi-step. All right, what'd you get? So first we're going to multiply. When you multiply, you add. So that's 2 plus -4. 2 plus -4 is -2, right? And then 5 times 4, or 5 plus 4, we're multiplying. So it's 5 plus 4, which is y to the 9. Now I have the same variable, right? My numerator and denominator are the same variable, so they're being divided. It's y to the -2 divided by y9. So it becomes y to the -2 minus 9, which is y to the -11 for my final answer, y to the -11. All right, last one. Last one, what if it's something like, let's do b's. B times B Okay, try that one. What are we going to get? Try it on your own first. All right, so we're just going to add. Doesn't matter how many they're multiplying, I'm still going to add. There's an invisible 1. So it's 1 plus 3 plus 2. That will be b to the 6th. What about the denominator? It could be a denominator, it could be a numerator, it can look lots of different ways, but if it does, that is power to a power boom multiply, right? Power to a power boom multiply, so it becomes b to the 8th. Then that's division, right? Division, b6 to b8, so it's 6 minus 8 is going to be b to the -2, b to the -2. All right? Check it with me if you have questions. I'm cheering for you guys. You got this. We'll see you again soon.